Don't quit. Don't quit. And if something is wrong, you've been hurt, you've been harmed, you got something to say, God has somebody for you that's going to come in your path for you to say it to, for you to be able to open up your heart to. Yeah. Timmell, as I said, he had a lot of love to give, but nobody to give it to. If you feel rejected, you feel abandoned, you feel those things, look, I'm going to tell you, there is one that never leave you, never forsake you. That's God.
The family of a man found dead in the backyard of his home on Lindsay Street in Lynchburg wants answers. They believe someone killed him. ABC 13's Alexia Stanbridge sat down with Timmell Smith's parents about their search for justice.
25 is too young to die. That's what Timmell Smith's mom and dad say.
I mean, I feel like I'm in a nightmare, like in a fog. Like, he's really gone, though.
I've lost my best friend.
Timothy Smith and Catherine Brown say he worked at Liberty University as a grill cook.
He did not want to see anybody sad, upset, all of that.
He loved cooking, making people laugh, and dancing. Police responded to Lindsay Street at 3 on Tuesday afternoon, October 29th. Timothy had found Timmell dead in their backyard with a gunshot wound to the chest.
I went around the house and seen him laying there. I ran over, checked his heartbeat. He was already in rigor mortis.
Timothy found his own gun in between a son and a pillow. He put the gun in his pocket and then gave it to officers at the scene.
According to these warrants, Timmell has never suffered from mental illness. They also say that police interviewed a woman who was the last known person to see him.
They say she admitted to getting in an argument. His death is something his parents still can't wrap their minds around.
I still can't sleep.
The family says they want answers and justice.
Would he leave you behind voluntarily?
No. That's what
Absolutely
I'm saying.
not.
My son had too much to live for to take his own life.
This is listed as a homicide on search warrants. The Lynchburg Police Department says they are currently investigating, but they say it may or may not be of criminal nature. They're waiting for the medical examiner's report to decide how to proceed.
Police and the family ask that anyone with any information about this come forward. Back to you.
And ABC 13 was on the scene when Smith was found dead. You can check out that coverage on our webpage, WSET.com. Just look for the story you see on your screen.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your boy, Jonathan Smith, a.k.a. TeflonJohn, coming to you with another episode of the Art of Reinvention Show. And today, I have a different type of show. Today's title of the show is called Suffering in Silence. And I have a special guest with me today, Miss Catherine Brown of Lynchburg, Virginia. So if you want to take a few minutes, Miss Catherine, and just tell everyone why you're here.
Okay, well, I'm here to honor my son, who I don't know if you know. If you didn't know, his body was found behind his home. He lived with his father, found behind there on October the 29th of this year. So just 3 weeks ago, well, as we're recording 3 weeks ago, but yeah, definitely just something you never would imagine, that call. I just remember so vividly the day he was born, and I got to know the day that he died, and it's just like, you never expect it.
Yeah.
I never expected it.
And on behalf of the show, my brand, we want to extend our condolences,
We appreciate
you and
it.
your family. Will continue to keep you in prayers.
Thank you so much.
So just, starting out the show, we just want you to introduce your son to people that don't know him or never got the chance to meet him. So with Timmell Smith, what are some memories that you cherish? Like what stands out?
Okay, well, Timmell was born September 30th, 1999. I was just 21 years old, really finding myself. And he came into to the world, kind of rocked my world, like literally. He really changed my life because I had to be responsible now. Timmell was he's always loved big. I can remember he never liked school. He hated school, absolutely hated school. He wanted to be at home with his mama all the time. And he was a spoiled pot. He's always quiet as well. Very shy, kind of timid. And, you know, it definitely, it really, I mean, with what happened, you could almost say that I don't even know how to put it in words, but for me, he wasn't that kid that was out in the streets.
Gotcha.
You know, he stayed home and he took care of his dad and he went to work and, you know, he did the average things. He grew up in church. He knew exactly who Jesus Christ was. I can tell that story. I can remember we had watched The Passion of Christ. He was about 10 years old. And that Saturday we watched it. He had went to bed about 9 o'clock, about 11 o'clock. He woke up, tears flowing. And he just said, well, why did they have to do him like that? Talking about Jesus. And that was just a moment that God said, you can introduce him to me. And I got to be able to introduce him to Christ. And it was able to explain to him, you know, exactly, you know, what it was to be in a relationship with Jesus Christ. And I told him, I said, you know, if you really mean this thing, then Sunday you need to come to the altar. And that Sunday, he looked at me and I looked at him. And I pointed my head forward and he came onto the altar. And I was also able to baptize him. So, you know, it's been an honor to be his mother. And I'm so glad that I'm able to tell the story of his life. So glad.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what hobbies did he have? Like what used to bring him joy?
Cooking. I tried to get him to go to college right after high school. But again, he hated school. He couldn't stand school. From a little boy, couldn't stand it. So, but he had the gift. He could go in the kitchen and pretty much whip up anything. Especially with myself being a chef as well, he would. And it's actually not the past time that I talked to him before he passed away. And he was asking me for a chili bean recipe. So he loved to cook and he loved to dance. If you can get a hold of his channels, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, he loved to dance. I mean, and I'm talking about like you got served type of dance.
Oh, okay.
You know what
Really
I mean? The popping and locking and all of that. That's what he did.
Gotcha.
And he loved to work out.
Okay.
Those are the three things that he loved to do.
So how did his passions or his hobbies with dancing and cooking, how did it impact the lives around him?
Timmell was he was so, I don't want to say goofy, but he was just silly. He loved to make people laugh. You know, he was always, you know, just an easy, laid back type of guy. Who if you knew him, you knew he was laid back. And but he was also direct. You know what I mean? He didn't direct. If he didn't like you, he just didn't deal with you, period.
Gotcha.
You know, he was the one that was going to tell you the truth, whether you liked it or not. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so all of that, I'm sure it played a part in who he was and his identity.
Got you. So what was his role in your family? Because I know he's like, you know, seemed like the life of the party, keeps everybody happy.
He made us all at first. He made me, he's my oldest. And my my parents' first grandchild. He was the first for everybody. He has his younger sister, and he also has some cousins, but he was the first baby into the family. And so, you know, he was the first. So, you know, obviously he was the light anyway, because the focus was always on him all the time. But he was just a sweetheart. He really was a sweetheart. I have this poem that after we got the news of his passing, I don't even remember him writing it. He couldn't have been more than about 6 or 7 years old, just learning how to write. It really speaks to his character, because this is just the way that he was. This poem is about just relaxing. It's going to be all right. And I took that from him, coming from heaven, saying to me, Mama, I'm okay. It's all right. Relax. It's okay. And on the inside, I just want to read it to you. Again, it speaks to his character. He says, I like when you make fried chicken. He loved to eat. I like when you fried chicken. I like when you fry chicken, and I like what you do for me, like buy me clothes and cook. You are nice. I love you. You are as pretty as 100 flowers. Happy Mama's Day. Your son, Timmell.
Wow.
That was his heart. I mean, he loved his mama. He loved his family. And it's, I don't know if you've ever been in a place where people just expect you to make them smile. They expect you to be okay.
Yeah.
And this is why I believe that he was suffering in silence. Yeah. Yeah. Because he always was smiling. And he tended to, he liked his marijuana, you know, and, I really feel like he was on the innocence.
Yeah. Kind of stayed to himself. And
all the time.
Gotcha.
All the time.
Okay. Now, can you walk us through the events that led up to his death? Well,
I can give you what I know of. The last time that I talked to him was October the 11th. He I believe he asked me for that chili bean recipe. And so it was October the 29th that his aunt called me. Imagine I hadn't talked to him in 2 weeks. But as far as I knew, he was doing okay. Okay. And prior to that, I found out that he was dating a young lady. And I don't even, from what I understand, it wasn't a very serious thing, but he was seeing someone. And I'm, just a regular day. And his aunt calls me. I haven't talked to his aunt in years. And she calls me on Facebook Messenger. And I look at it. I'm like, wait, what? Why is she calling me? I'm like, oh gosh, something wrong. And she called me once, she called me twice. I was in the middle of doing something and I called her right back. She didn't answer. And then she called me back again. And she said, Kathy, she said, they found Timmell in the backyard. He's dead. This is what she said. And she said that. And everything inside of me, it was just like, I had never experienced shock. She said it again. And I just kind of froze. And she said to me, do you hear me? I said, I hear you. I said, he's dead. And she said, they found him. He's dead. When are you coming? Can you get here? And I'm like, yeah, I can get here. But for about 30 minutes, I didn't do anything. I just was saying, I can't believe this. He's gone. He's gone?
Yeah.
And that's where I was. About 30 minutes, I just was stuck. I mean, I couldn't even cry. That's how I was just shocked. Like,
yeah. Especially being the person that you just told us he was.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't bother nobody. And it's like, I knew instantly that somebody had did something to him. Never would expect anything else outside of somebody did something to him.
Got you. So what details do you feel are important about that day that you want people to know? I'm pretty sure with it being in the news and the newspaper, people hear bits and pieces. But
right. Well, the one thing that I know instinctively as a mother, my son did not commit suicide because right after I just assumed that somebody had did something to him. That's when I found out that it was a Facebook Live going on from WSET. And they said, well, it seems that there's no suspects and that a man was found dead in the backyard. And, they were saying it must have been a suicide. I mean, these are the comments that were being made. And I just make it clear, They say that it could be a suicide, but it's looking more like a homicide.
So nothing was confirmed.
Nothing has been confirmed quite yet, but I'll tell you one thing that has in this process has really rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't even know if I should say it, but I'm gonna say it, is that for anybody who is going through anything that's similar to this, you make sure that you stay on the tracks of these people, people that's supposed to be getting justice for your loved one. Because I'm just trying to get things in order. So my son receives benefits and things of that nature. And so I'm trying to get the death certificate.
Mm-hmm.
And I reach out to get the death certificate. And his body went on October the 30th, that morning, October the 30th, it signed off. Suicide. Wait a minute. It's an open investigation. How do you sign off that it's a suicide and you don't even have all of the records? I mean, you don't even have everything that you need. So, I say that to say, you need to make sure that you're mindful and paying attention to what is happening.
Yeah.
Do not let them sweep it up under the rug.
And so at this point, the investigation is still open.
Absolutely.
Haven't determined the root cause, but they're already saying suicide.
Yeah, but I asked them, I told them, I said, if I file for anything for him to get his benefits and things that he done paid for, and they suicide, immediately they're not going to pay that out. It's not about money. You are damaging the character of my son, and I don't like that. I just don't believe that he would do that. He had too much to live for. Because what I know is that he had decided, I believe that he was at a place where he had decided he wanted to do something different than what he was doing.
Yeah.
And he really wanted to invest in his career, which is being a chef. His father told me that he wanted to be a chef. And I had previously mentioned to him, maybe a month prior, you can go to school here because he worked at Liberty. You can go here for free because you work here. You can take some classes free. He was like, oh, yeah, well, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I know that he had began to make steps
Plans for
towards
the future.
settling down. Absolutely. Yeah, so. Mm-hmm.
So do you think, were there any warning signs leading up to this? Like that when you look back?
Well, like I said, Timmell, he's whenever he's around his family, he livens up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And about 2 years have passed where he just kind of drifted. It's something like a boat that's tied to an anchor and the rope is loosened and the boat just kind of drifts away with the current.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what happened to him. He just kind of drifted away. He stopped coming to church. He stopped, he barely would come to different functions that we would have. Because we are the type of family, we get together on holidays and things of that nature. And when in the last 2 years, he just kind of stopped showing up. He stopped coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so he, to me, those were the warning signs that something was wrong. But he's 25 years old. Well, 24.
Yeah.
24, 23, 24 years old. You don't hang with your family like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be out the ordinary.
You know what I mean?
Start living your own life.
Yeah, you just kind of doing your own thing. So I'm a woman. I'm a mother who prays for the children, and all you can do is pray. At some point, they get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They get to choose how they live.
Yeah.
Even though they know the way, it ain't necessarily they're gonna choose the way.
Yeah.
And this is what God really gave me this week. You can live to die, or you can die to live. And I believe that Timmell chose to live to die, which means he served his flesh rather than serving his spirit. Because when you are in the spirit, you die to yourself every day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he fed his flesh every day rather than feeding his spirit, but he knew who Jesus Christ was and is. He knew the way, but he had the right to choose.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I tried to just, I guess you could say, not love him from afar, but love him, let him know, hey, Timmell, I'm here. I'm always here for you. Anything you need, whatever you want. Because it had gotten to the point he was away so much. It was like something that dropped in my spirit. Tell him to just come home.
Yeah.
On Sundays, and have dinner with his mama and his dad, his stepdad, and his sisters. We're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Try to at least every other weekend. This is what we would try to do, and he looked forward to that. Financially, it became a struggle for us after a while, and then his sister and him fuss all the time. So I'm like, wait a minute, I got to get a break. And so you had a couple of weeks that passed that he should have been here, but he wasn't. But both of them, all of them, especially the kids, look forward to that time with family. And like I said, I believe that somewhere along the line, he felt rejected. He felt abandoned. I'm a woman of the cloth, and I struggle. That has been, since this happened, it's been like, I feel like I wasted a lot of time. I feel like sometimes I checked off a lot of the religious boxes that we check off as pastors, and we begin to neglect the family within, trying to take care of the family out there. I'm talking about the church. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess that's a message.
Yeah.
Don't forget about your family, the ones that's closest to you, because just because they haven't said it don't mean they don't feel it.
Yeah.
Actions speak louder than words. So these are some of the things that say to me that he was suffering in silence. I came into ministry in 2010. So Timmell was 11 years old when I came into ministry. 11. That's a pivotal time for a young man. And me and his father had separated. We weren't together. So he was there and in between both of us. He lived with me, but he would be over there every other weekend. And so, we're in church every Sunday, and we're in Bible study, and we're doing all the things that the preachers' kids and preachers do.
Yeah.
And I know it. He felt neglected at times and abandoned at times. And obviously, it's a dangerous thing.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with those are coupled with like internalizing their emotions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I know initially you said you were in shock, but could you walk us through what was going through your mind, if anything, when you got that initial news and then you're going over to the house?
The thing that played the loudest in my head on our way there. Well, first I had to deal with accepting the fact that he's gone. And acceptance doesn't necessarily look the way you think, I think. It's that processing. It's like, I've heard the words and I know. But I'm thinking, I'm going to wait. This is a dream. I'm going to wake up from it. This is not real. So this entire time, from the time that I found out to the time that we're in the car and going, I am mentally trying to accept it. Meanwhile, I'm running into, my mother comes, my father comes, and my sister comes, and everybody is coming full of tears. And I'm trying to hold it together for them, trying to hold it together for me, trying to hold it together to, I guess you could say, carry out this part that I think I'm supposed to carry. And at the same time, it's the weirdest feeling. It's like, because I know Jesus Christ, he takes a sting out of death. I want to be the broken, tore down, falling to pieces mama. Oh, my son. Oh, my son. This is what I want to be in my flesh. Spirit won't let me. You hear me? Spirit won't let me be that way. People are looking at me. They're crying, more upset than I am. And I'm looking at them and I'm looking at myself saying, what is going on? Do they think I don't love my son because I'm not crying? They don't see me? These are the thoughts that I'm thinking as I am headed there. All the while, as we're going and I'm walking, I'm talking to the Lord. I'm saying, Lord, give me the strength. Lord, help me. And the last thought I said, did he make it? That's what I'm thinking. Did he make it in? Did he make it in?
And when you say make it in, just to clarify, you talk about make it into heaven.
Heaven, yes. Because by now we're there and we're sitting and people are going back and forth to the backyard. You know, told them who I am. I want to go to the back. No, you can't go to the back. And I'm like, okay. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, Lord, did he make it in? Lord, please let it. Because again, he done strayed away. He ain't been to church and God knows when. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He haven't been around. I don't know really where he is mentally. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden I hear the Lord say, look up. And I looked up right at the back of the house. I look up in the sky and I said, Michael, look. And it was almost as though the hand of God just shaped the clouds to look like angel wings. Mm. And when I could recognize that they was wings, he said, he's right here with me. You don't have to worry. He's right here with me. That's what I was thinking. I said, praise the Lord. And then after that, I'm thinking, what happened? Mm-hmm. What happened? Michael and I are talking, and the detective, we talked to the detective, we talked to this one, that one, da, 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 and we began to talk about this young lady. And this young lady just kind of appears out of nowhere. Creeps up the sidewalk, asking, and I'm like, is he really gone? I say, who are you? I am, I won't say her name. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, are you his friend, girlfriend? What? Well, I did his hair on Sunday. Yeah, one tear rolls down. I did his hair on Sunday. We had an argument. An argument? What? Okay, didn't say what it was about, but they had an argument. Okay. I'm going to cooperate with the police.
And they just volunteered this information.
Yeah, this is what I'm like, the police took his father down to the police station to check his hands for resin. To find out. Because instantly they're thinking that he did it. Yeah. I guess because where he was found and all of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm like, he's like, oh, well, we were talking to her because I talked to the detective and I'm like, why, who is this young lady? Have you checked her out? Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, I think we were talking to her about the time. Why are you talking to her? Why didn't you bring her down? She was the last one that saw him alive. Come on. Mm-hmm. This is what I mean when I say, you better check out these people that are supposed to be on your side. Make sure that they're doing everything that they're supposed to be doing.
So throughout the investigation process, do you feel like you're getting the support and the information and the feedback from law enforcement?
I'll just say this. Or
the adequate feedback and information?
I'll say that I would say to a degree, yes. But then to another degree, no. And I say the yes because there ain't but so much that you can share. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And not have to worry about somebody suing you or whatever have you. You know, so, I understand the level of, the fact that they can't share but so much. I understand that. Mm-hmm. But also I say no because obviously we've become investigators too.
Yeah.
And so we're finding out things that we are unaware that they know or not. And I'm kind of like getting a little bit of silent treatment. And I don't know why, but I am. And so that is probably the most frustrating part. And I don't understand, but they gave us, the medical examiner sent the clothes that he passed in to the funeral home for us. Funeral home gives us the clothes and said they sent these back to you. His clothes that he got shot in.
Mm.
And I'm like, that don't make no sense.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. And I told the investigator the detective that I'm working with, he's like, well, I think that they got everything that they need, so you can do with them what you want to.
Mm.
That don't make no sense now, do it?
No, it doesn't.
Come on.
Not doing an open investigation.
Exactly. And they can't get in his phone. They have his phone, they can't get in the phone. We watch forensic files and all of that.
Yeah.
How are you not able to get into his phone?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know? So, I mean, that's why I say yes and no, because it's like, what are y'all doing?
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of it too, because he has told me some of the things that are happening. A lot of it is waiting game.
Got you.
A lot of it's a waiting game. So, you try to give him the benefit of the doubt,
Mm-hmm.
but it's certain things that we found that we haven't had yet a chance to share with him yet. But I'll just say one thing we found is a song, and completely it doesn't even make sense to be attached to Timmell at all. But there's a pattern. There's a couple others. It's like two other songs in there, and they got a title. The chili bean recipe got a title. Everything got a title, but that one thing don't have a title. Mm. So it seems like somebody else wrote it in the book to make it look like he wrote it.
Mm. Got you. Somebody had access.
Yeah. So it's a lot of things that are happening that don't make, the more we dig, the deeper we dig, the more it looks like he was murdered and could have possibly not even been murdered where they found his body.
Mm.
Because we finally opened up that bag. 3 weeks later, we opened it up Saturday. Well, this past Saturday. We opened it up.
Mm-hmm.
And we're expecting to see nothing but gore. The shirt had no hole in it. Yeah.
Mm.
The shirt didn't even have a hole in it. And very little blood. It wasn't very much blood on that shirt.
So if you don't mind me asking, where was he shot?
He was shot in the chest right here. The shirt actually had an imprint of where the hole was in his body, but it was no hole in the shirt. It's an imprint of the gunshot wound on the shirt.
And these are the clothes they gave you and said this is what he had on.
Yes. And you could smell it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was maggots on the clothes. So they were the clothes that he had on when they found his body.
Mm.
And when you look at the clothes, all of the blood primarily is pooled. The wet blood was on the shirt was pulled to the side. But again, I say, if you get shot near your heart, you're going to lose. It should have been way more blood than that.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't very much. And his collar, the collar on the shirt was stretched. Like, some of you trying to get something over somebody's head.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. I feel like somebody took his life somewhere else, took him somewhere, and then brought him back. Because they know his dad's schedule.
Yeah.
Because his dad said that the last time that he talked to him was that Sunday night. And she was doing his hair. The young lady, she was doing his hair when he left to go to work. He came back the next day between 5 and 6 o'clock, went to bed, put his gun up, and woke up. His gun holster was laying, I don't know whether it was either on the bed or on the TV stand. The holster was there and the gun was gone. Could not find Timmell all day Monday. Did not find him till Tuesday at 3 o'clock.
Wow.
So Timmell's keys was there. Timmell's wallet was there. His cards, his bank cards, his ID, all of that was at the house. His phone was on his body. It was on him outside with him. We have yet to find his headphones. He always had on his Beats headphones. I ain't see a day where he didn't have at least one. We ain't found none. We have not found his Beats headphones at all. He kept a little weed grinder in his pocket all the time. We can't find that either. That's gone. Yeah.
So all this evidence supports to you that
somebody did something to him.
And just leading up to why you felt like, hold on, why are you saying suicide when all this stuff adds up to be something else?
Absolutely. I don't know how you can make that type of judgment that quick. Why? Because it's self-inflicted? I mean, not self-inflicted, but because it's close range. And according to his father, he said that the gun was on his chest. He was laid out flat with his arms stretched out. Now, again, this is suicide now. Laid on his back, arms stretched out, gun on his chest, pillow on top, a hole in the pillow. So they muffled the sound with the pillow. He had time to take and shoot himself through a pillow and take and tuck the gun in between. That don't make no sense. And then lay there just like that.
Yeah.
That don't make no sense. I don't believe that. I don't believe, and nobody can tell me and convince me to believe that he committed suicide. It just don't line up. It does not line up at all.
So what would you say outside of dealing with your son's death with this investigation process? Like, what has been the most challenging part for you to try to juggle that and also whatever is challenging, within the investigation process?
The most challenging part of it is waiting. Waiting for the proof that somebody did something to him. Waiting for that proof to confirm or waiting for the confession. That's the hardest part. I, for the most part, probably 90% of the way, I have been planning everything. I wrote his obituary, all of that stuff, and every step of the way, the Lord was holding my hands through it. It was the most difficult thing that I thought that I've ever done in my life. Talking to you is even kind of difficult, but it's necessary. And, there's one thing that Timmell oftentimes, even though it was difficult and was hard, he still would push through whatever it was. When on his job, he said people would complain about their job, but he said, well, you came to work. So what do you expect? You know what I mean? And for me, it's like, all of it's difficult and all of it's hard. It's always the hardest part is waiting for anything. Justice, we want justice for him. But we want it done right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want it right. And if you want it done right, then you might have to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there anything other than waiting that you're doing to try to help get justice, or is that just part of your process right now?
Well, as far as getting justice, what we're doing is getting as much evidence and kind of trying to piece things together. Looking at his videos and things of that nature. Like when we went to clean up his room, we went to look. We went to look to see if anything was, out of character. And that's when we found the notebook, and we actually found a bullet in the room. I don't know how the police missed that, but, we are trying to gather the evidence that would prove that he didn't, that somebody killed himself. I mean, that he didn't kill himself, that somebody killed him. So, in regard to justice, we want to make people aware that, of what happened.
Yeah.
And if they could give any information, as much information as they can give, anything, it's going to help.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, for me, and the other reporter asked me the same question, what is justice for me? For me, justice is whatever the Lord says it is. If a judge got in front of me and said, if you had to sentence her, what would it be? It would be, or her or him, excuse me, because we don't want to accuse anybody, whoever did it. It would be life in prison. No ability to be on parole. Yeah, because to me, death penalty is too easy. That person should suffer. Because wrong is wrong and right is right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure he suffered. Or however, depending upon whatever happened to him, you should suffer.
Yeah.
So
anyone watching, if they know anything, what could they do to help out?
I think the best thing would be to reach out to LPD?
Lynchburg Police Department.
And speak with Detective Williams, because he's the senior investigator on the case. I think that they should reach out to him. I am okay. We are okay with taking information, but it's always better to hear it from the horse's mouth. You know what I mean? If you got some information, you should tell them, because God did not give me a spirit of fear. He did not give us a spirit of fear. I feel like sometimes we can get so involved with things that we wind up with that spirit of fear, and you begin to live that way. And I refuse to live that way. I'm not, because that's not from God.
Yeah.
So that would be the best way, I think. Reach out to them.
Now, why do you think it's so important to raise awareness about Timmell's death? Being a mother, being a citizen, why do you find that so important? The awareness piece.
I think it's because so many people are masking what is going on in their life. I believe that, or I know, spiritual bondage is really a thing. And when I say that, I mean spirit of depression, spirit of worry, spirit of anxiety, spirit of suicide, spirit of whatever. And it don't come from God. Those things are real. I believe that. And I believe they attach to men and women no matter the age. And if the devil can possess you, he will. And if you don't have anybody to talk to or feel like you can talk to, or you feel like, everybody's going to reject you, and anybody to get close to you, you're not good enough, and you feel like you are abandoned and all of that, you will just try to mask what is going on. And eventually that thing will kill you. It becomes like a cancer that slowly kills you, because it festers. It's like festering, something that's festering inside of you. And it becomes a thing where you're almost looking at everybody to do the same thing. They did it, she did it, he did it. And then you got this lie that's being built in your mind and your heart. And, since he's passed, we've been doing looking at a lot of his channels and things, the older stuff. Back in 22, he was having a difficult time. And he made me aware that he was having a hard time. And he was almost ready to walk away from faith, because he couldn't find a job. And the young lady he was dating at the time, he said she didn't have time for him. And, he needed money, he didn't have money. And so he was, again, just having a hard time. And I, looking at the videos, he manifested exactly what happened to him. Quite a few of those videos talking about, I don't care, I don't want to live anyway, and talking about bullets, getting killed, and it don't matter, and things like that. I believe that he manifested. The power of our words make a difference. Yeah, our words make a difference. And if you're not careful with your words, you could absolutely speak your own death prematurely. I believe that in that time, in that season of his life, he had a spirit of depression attached to him. And because he was having a hard time, like a lot of people, if you don't know the way, you think it's going to last forever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And make what is temporary, make it permanent. And that's the way that he carried himself. That's the way he was speaking. That's the way he was talking. Oh, this situation, this is what it's always going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And this too shall pass. The Bible teaches me we get seasons and cycles in life. It ain't going to always be that way. And I believe that's something that we have to realize that, look, whatever you're going through, it ain't going to last always. When Timmell was about 18, I think, we had started our ministry, ELCM, Hope Community Center, right here in Madison Heights. And I don't know where it came from. He just all of a sudden says, hold on, pain ends. Like I said, I believe that there was something he was going through that God was saying that to him, and he gave it to us.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't apply it to his own life. Hold on, pain ends.
Yeah.
And so, therefore, Timmell, in this season, remember I said, I believe that Timmell died to live, or no, lived to die.
Mm-hmm.
But in Christ, he died to live. So hold on, pain ends is now brought to life through his death. Just as Christ, he died, but more importantly, he resurrected. He brought forth life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I believe, that at the end of the day, that this awareness is about, that, just hold on. It's going to end.
Yeah.
That pain, it's going to end. Whatever you're going through, it's going to end. It won't last forever.
So how do you hope the awareness that we're raising for Timmell's death, how do you hope that impacts the community?
Well, what we want to do is it's all in motion. Creating a foundation. Well, we have our community center where people can get tangible things that they need, whether it's clothes, shoes, things that homeless victims, those are victims of fire, whatever the situation may be. We call it the boutique. People can come to our on-site, 4800 South Hammers Highway in Madison Heights, Tuesday through Friday, from 9 to 4:30 to get tangible things, right? We want to extend that, okay? Now with Hold On, Pain Ends Foundation. Again, it's already been started and I'm working on it. We're going to have a merch with the same things that I'm talking about. The Hold On, Pain Ends, different proclamations like don't quit, don't give up. We're going to provide that through the foundation. We want to provide social justice resources to families who are going through similar situations as we are right now. Because at the end of the day, especially when they pass young, they're not prepared for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we want to be able to give grants to families so that it can help go through the process, help them with counseling services and things of that nature, because we do have Exposed Life Change Ministries, which would be the umbrella of it all. It's where it all started. We want to be able to be a help to any and everybody who needs it.
Got you.
Yeah.
So what is the most difficult aspect coping with the loss of Timmell? And like what type of strategies or, if you're using any to help cope with it?
Excuse me. For me, and again, this is not everybody. For me, I put all of my trust is in the Lord. I even though this has happened, my mind has filtered with all types of thoughts. I feel like I'm a lot like Job in the Bible, who, one of the first things when he was being tried, he lost his children. He lost all of the things, possessions and things of that nature, but he lost his children. And at the end of the day, he still worshiped God. He still put his trust in God. So for me, this is how I cope. And for me, I run to God and not away. But here's the thing. With Timmell's death, I've touched my Bible 3 times since it happened. This makes 21 days that he's been gone. I've touched my Bible 3 times. And I said, God, I don't understand that. Why? What? This is the first time I haven't gravitated toward God. He said, because I've already prepared you for that. I've already prepared you for this season of your life. And so everything that you have put in, you have what you need to make it through. So for me, because see, ain't everybody like me. Ain't everybody going to cope with the loss of their child the same way that I am.
Yeah.
I have total trust in God. Total trust in God that He's going to bring me through. I cry. I cry. I break down. And, I ask the Lord, usher me through it. Help me to still see Him after I've been gone through. I've had my moments asking God why. He ushered me through it.
Mm-hmm.
He give me a sense of peace after I come through it. So, as I say, for me, to cope with it is to just trust God. Yeah. I can't say that I've really done anything else to cope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people, they drink and they drink, and some people smoke and they smoke, and they do this, do that to cope.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm just trusting God. I mean, really, and I'm talking to Him, and I'm praying, and I'm pushing anyhow. Because the truth of the matter, sometimes I don't feel like talking to the Lord. But I gave Him my heart a long time ago.
So why is your faith? And it's just for the listeners, more for you. Mm-hmm. But why is it that important to have faith and trust in God during times like this, where you don't understand, you don't know the why, you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring? Why is it that important?
For me, faith is that important because it is my root. I look at faith like a tree. When you plant a tree in the ground, if it's planted, as the Bible says, by the rivers of the water, if that seed is planted in the ground at the right temperature, the right depth, the right conditions, then no matter what comes, it's going to stay still. I don't know. The thing about a plant or a tree is that when the seed is planted, the outside of it, which is the part of we die to live, the outside of it breaks off. And what's on the inside is actually what is birthed in the ground. And when it's birthed in the ground, it does like a J, goes down, it dies, and then it comes back up. So for me and for anybody else, if you're rooted in Jesus Christ, I ain't talking about traditions. I ain't talking about customs. Mm-hmm. When you're rooted in Jesus Christ, He will keep you rooted, grounded, settled, and unmovable. For me, my faith is everything. And I'm just so very grateful that this didn't happen before I was rooted. Mm. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because had this happened before I was rooted, then I might have gone somewhere else. I might have walked away from the Lord. Mm. But it didn't happen until all of me was all the way in. And I think that that's what happens a whole lot of time. When something tragic happens, if you ain't all the way in, then you might go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if, the bad part about it is when you're all the way in, sometimes people look at you crooked and sideways. Why you not this? You ain't this. You ain't that. Because I'm not doing what they expected me to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I've also had people look at me and say, I can't believe it couldn't be me. It couldn't be me. You're laughing. You're talking about it. How? And I'm looking at them like, it ain't me. That's Jesus. To God be the glory. That is God.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said, the Lord is my help. He is my strength. The Lord is that. So, for me, I take the Bible literally. And we don't really comprehend the Bible until we go through, till we get into the fire. Right now I'm in the fire, coming out on the other side of the fire. Losing him, it changed me. My comprehension of time and how I deal with time and how I deal with listening has forever been changed. Because I understand. The Bible says he comes like a thief in the night. You don't never know when he's going to come. Trust me when I tell you, it was like a thief. I never would have expected my son to be gone to this day. I expected for him to bury me, not me to bury him. He comes like a thief in the night. The Bible is true. I'm telling you. I mean, got to get beyond just reading the word and take it as to be, this is my roadmap. And you don't really understand the Bible until you go through.
Yeah.
You don't really. And I believe that. You don't. A thief in the night. My whole outlook on time, not wasting time, that's important to me. It's very important now. Because Timmell's life was gone. Just like that. Because I'm talking about he laugh at anything. My son, you mad and he look at you and laugh.
Mm-hmm.
You like, what is you laughing at? And he'll laugh and tell you straight up and down exactly what he thinking and walk on away. Don't be mad. I mean, this is what it is. That's what he would do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. No, you mad. I remember the third time, the last time he was here, he looked at me and said, see, you still got an attitude, huh? And I said to him, I said, oh, boy. I said, boy, Then I went over to the couch and I just messed with him till, he was okay. Yeah. He was okay. Yeah, but yeah, he was like that, like a thief in the night. It showed me, and that's another thing that I learned. You don't really know or realize how much you love somebody until you lose them. You don't. I had no idea how much I loved him until I lost him. And I look back on all of the things like this and the Mother's Day last year. He was singing Mama. Yeah. All the men at the church were singing Mama. And he was up there and my sister got him at the end of the video. He picks up the mic and he just harmonizing. And that moment I said, he did love me. He did love me. And over the last 2 days, I could just hear him saying, Mama, I love you. Because when you feel like you abandoned them, you feel like you wasn't there for them, that's one thing that you wonder. Did they know that I love them? I wonder, did they know that I loved them? Because I wasn't there. Yeah. These are things that's real that people struggling with. I wasn't there. To the parent that wanted to be there and couldn't be there. Or, like me, I picked up my cross and I followed him. They're thinking that I wasn't there for them. They don't love me. My child loved me. I didn't think that he did a whole lot of times because I wasn't there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you sit back and you say, I wish I had. And it's another thing that I've always said, don't ever regret. Don't wish that you hadn't, because if you do that, then you wouldn't be who you are right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You had to go through that path to get to where you are.
Yeah. So upon Timmell's death, in one regard, time stopped.
Yeah.
But in another regard, time waits for no man, and life goes on. And day to day, you still got kids and you got a husband.
Yeah.
How do you deal with dealing and grieving with his death while moving forward at the same time?
To be honest, Jonathan, time for me just stopped. From the time that I got that call up until yesterday, time stopped for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just started moving again. And it wasn't that I didn't want to go. I couldn't go. Because I'm the one that's popping, doing this, doing that, everywhere, all over the place. That was for the first time the Lord made me. I just literally stopped. Everything and anything that I would typically do just stopped. And it didn't just stop for me. It stopped for my husband. Stopped for my kids, my other kids. Everything just stopped. And I feel like I was like in the middle of a fog. Couldn't see. I couldn't go anywhere. I could only walk the path that the Lord had put before me. It was like anything else, like the day-to-day things, laundry, stuff like that. It was like the Lord said, not Catherine. He said, the Lord said, nope, you're not doing that today. This is what you're going to focus on. Nope, you're not going to do that. This is what you're going to focus on. And every day for the last 20 days, this is what my life has been. Every day. One thing at a time. He would not allow me to do anything but grieve in this particular area.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's just because I have, and this is what I'll say about me. I'm one of those ones that I don't deal with feelings too well. I'm a pastor, but I don't deal with feelings too well. And after thinking about it, really thinking about it yesterday, over the last week, it's like God says, that's suffering in silence. If you're walking in Him, that won't stay. It can't. Because that's not spirit. That's not the fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
Things that are wrong and that are out of order, He's going to deal with. And it's amazing. It took the loss of my child to make him deal with some things that was within.
Mm-hmm.
That, even though I was crying for him, I was crying for me too. Now, ain't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at your son's death and, you look at it from a broader scope, as far as the listeners that may be going through something similar or the same, what advice could you give them? They may be dealing with the tragedy. They may be dealing with a search of justice for a loved one. Like what advice could you give them?
The best advice I could say is let your heart speak loudest and clearest, because if you don't, then I think that's when anger can set in. I say that because anger and all of those, even Jesus got mad. All of those are human emotions. But if we're not careful, those human emotions can turn into bitterness and envy. It can turn into what it shouldn't be. And what happens when that happens is you lose yourself. So allow your heart to feel. That's my greatest. Allow your heart to feel what it feels. It's okay, even if you get mad, even if you get upset. Let that thing release it, so that it can't hold you. Because, believe it or not, a lot of people are in bondage because they won't allow themselves to feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody hurt you. You can express that. That hurt me. It is so many people in and out of the church that have hurt, that have been wronged and all of that. And they hide it within, trying to tuck it away. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
But look at what's happening in the world that says that I'm not okay. People are dead or sitting in prison because they didn't deal with what's wrong.
So what are your future hopes when you look ahead, right, that we get from the investigation? And how do you hope to, or what is your plans to keep Timmell's legacy going forward?
Well, my hope is that whoever did it will confess to it, will own up to their wrong. That is my hope, and that we will find out exactly what happened that night or that day when he passed. In the future, my hope is that we can spread this acronym for hope of hold on, pain ends like a cancer. That people will look at what he went through, and this is a part of why I want people, and I myself want to know what happened. And not forget his story, because Timmell had so much to give and so much to give into this world. But because he was suffering in silence, he could not.
Yeah.
And he settled for less. He settled for what didn't have to be. And when people hear that hold on, pain ends, that it gives them hope. That that you won't give up.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we want people to not give up, because it's not over till God says it's over. This too shall pass. Whatever you're going through, it won't last. Just like how I'm feeling or how I felt about Timmell passing, that thing is now turning into joy. I always say it's a bittersweet pill to swallow, because it was bitter to know that he's gone. But the sweet part about it is that I don't have to worry about him being in no more pain. I don't have to worry about him suffering in silence. I don't have to worry about, anybody causing harm to him, because he's in a place of peace. I know that I'm going to see him again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the bittersweet. The bittersweet is I don't get to see him walk through that door being silly. I don't get to see him dance. I don't get to taste anything that he done created. I don't get to feel him put his arm around me and say, love you. Love you. So he always just say, love you. Get off the phone with him. All right, mama, love you. Talk to you later. Those are the bitter. I don't get to experience that anymore outside of a recording, But the sweet thing is that he's okay. He's okay, and I'm okay. Yeah. It's so funny. We felt guilty for watching TV at one point, because it's like he's gone. But like you said, you got to move on. You got to move on. If not, you're going to die like he did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if we're going to celebrate his life, that means we got to go on and live life.
Yeah.
Anyhow. So that's the bittersweet. That's what I mean when I say bittersweet. But I choose the sweet. I choose to celebrate the good in him. I choose to celebrate that love, so much love to give. So much love to give. But he felt like nobody wanted it. Yeah.
Okay. So, Ms. Catherine, as we bring this interview to a close, I would like for you to look into your camera and you take your time. But give whatever message to the listeners, the thousands of people that will watch this, the thousands of people that would hear this, even think about people hearing it 5 or 10 years from now. Whatever message you would like for them to take in.
My message would be, again, don't quit. Don't quit. And if something is wrong, you've been hurt, you've been harmed, you got something to say, God has somebody for you that's going to come in your path for you to say it to, for you to be able to open up your heart to. Yeah. Timmell, as I said, he had a lot of love to give, but nobody to give it to. If you feel rejected, you feel abandoned, you feel those things, look, I'm going to tell you, there is one that will never leave you, never forsake you. And that's God. Jesus is the way, he's the truth, and he's the light. He is the comforter. Any void that you might feel, he will fill it. You got to put your total trust in your heart, in his hands. And I guarantee you, he will do it. Amen. Look, no matter the trial, no matter the struggle, he's going to do it. He will. He promises us that. So no matter when you listen to this, you hear this story, at the end of the day, my hope is that you get hope. Yeah, I hope that you're encouraged. I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I don't want you to feel sorry for Timmell. I want you to, when you look at his videos, when you look at this, when you look at that, whether you see the bitter or the sweet side of him, know that God gave him a word, which was hold on and pain ends. Hold on, pain ends. Even though he may not have taken it for himself, you take it for you to hold on, pain ends.
And we appreciate you. Me, TeflonJohn, and the Art of Reinvention Show, and my fans, we and followers, we appreciate you sharing your story, and we hope that that not only God touches your heart and comforts you and your family, but we hope that this message and your story touches other people that are going through it, that have went through it, and that will go through it. We just hope that, your son's legacy can be lived out through helping other people.
Yeah.
So as we bring this episode to a close, I would just like to say, just like Miss Catherine said, that if you're suffering in silence, get help, talk to someone, try to develop a closer relationship to God. And there's nothing wrong with, like she said, expressing how you feel. A lot of times in life, we walk around, we're bottled up, and we're not being true with our emotions, and we explode and we make rash decisions that we otherwise wouldn't have made had we been true with our own emotions. So in this post, I'm going to put her socials up. So if you want to help with the Hope Foundation and help her get it going, or if you would like to donate anything to the family, I'm going to put that up as well. But as I always say, and it really means, I think, its weight today is, when we end, it's one love, but it's your choice to be blessed. Being blessed is a choice. We can focus on what we don't have, or we can choose to focus on what we do have and where we're going.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it again, one love, but it's your choice to be blessed.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Hey, what's up? It's your boy TeflonJohn, and I would like to personally thank you for listening to this episode of the Art of Reinvention Podcast Show. Follow us on social media on TikTok at the Reinvention Podcast, YouTube at the Art of Reinvention Talk Show, and Instagram at the Art of Reinvention Podcast. And you can hit us up at www.teflonjohn.com. That's John spelled John for all motivational content in Teflon Radio. And again, as I always say, one love, but it's your choice to be blessed.